Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We've watched it, now we're going to talk about it. We are diving into our recap of The Vampire Lestat, which is effectively season 3 of Interview with a Vampire. AMC officially rebranded the series for this run because Lestat is stepping into the spotlight and he is setting the record straight via his rock star music career. You can catch our reviews at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. Today we are covering season 1, episode 1, Detroit, my hometown, so I'm loving that. I'm your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at The Recap Pods, and if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is show co-host Lisa. Welcome back, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I'm also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So I'm ready to jump into this.
Okay, but before we get going, we do want your participation in this conversation. So please hit us up in the comments section on YouTube or Spotify and leave us a voicemail using the Speak Pipe link in the show notes. So if you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Exactly. No scene-by-scene breakdowns here. We jump around a lot. And of course, huge spoiler alert for everything, every show in AMC's Anne Rice's world through this episode. So if you're cool with that, this is a place for you. And we should just jump right on in. So what did you think of episode 1, high level?
I liked it way better than the movies.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It is different than the books, and I am confused on a couple of points because I know the book history, and some of the things that Lestat said doesn't quite mesh up with where they should be in this particular season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of waiting to see.
Okay, so every single showrunner and writers, they take their liberties with these
Yes.
shows and they move things around at will to make it fit whatever they're trying to present. And sometimes they change characters altogether, mash characters together. They do a whole bunch of mess that is different from the book. So hopefully you won't get too much of a headache with the changes they make.
So in the series, it's an Interview with a Vampire, which is Louis' story told from his point of view. And then there's the vampire Lestat who goes, hey, wait a minute, guys. Excuse me. That's not what happened.
Right, which is kind of what's happening here.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are references to the third book that Lestat has already made in this first episode.
Okay. What's the third book? Tell us the book title.
Queen of the Damned.
Yes. And so if anyone's seen any of the press about these books, we know we're going to see Akasha in this season. It's everywhere. Like, that's not a spoiler. It's literally everywhere. So, and you're right. They have set up very first episode. We're seeing scenes from the movies, right? In the first episode. So,
because he makes the comment when he's in the hall while he's doing his monologue. You know, that he should be able to take these because he has the blood of the ancient.
Yes.
Yes. So,
yes.
But in the books, it was his music that woke her up. And near the end of near the middle end of the book, actually near the end of the book is when she makes her appearance, and then it goes on to the Queen of the Damned.
Right.
So, yeah, so I'm a little confused on how they're going to make that timeline work.
You know what? They've figured it out already. I guess we'll have to see, but I guess I'm accustomed to so many adaptations. Like, I just try not to nitpick it to death because it would be shocking if they did follow the source material to the letter. It would be shocking because no one ever does it.
Well, and I didn't expect them to.
Yeah.
I just my assumption had been is they would have started the beginning with him in the rock band, and a lot of more or less some of the things that happened there in that first episode were fairly true to the book. Not exact, but close enough.
Yeah.
And then I could see them going ahead and basically rolling in the book, The Vampire Lestat, with Queen of the Damned in this season and make
Mhm.
it all make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, I guess is what I'm thinking.
Well, this episode literally seemed like they started with the end, right? So the very first scene, I don't know where Lestat is, but they're sitting there trying to bid on his stuff, you know. So he's somewhere. If maybe is he dead? I don't know. He's somewhere, but people are trying to buy music and the originals and all this stuff. And true fashion of Vampire Lestat, of course, he sets some stuff on fire and kind of makes a big scene about it. With them starting with the end at the beginning, they're shifting things all around. Like you mentioned, him mentioning the ancient blood, but
Mhm.
also, did you notice the concert scene in Detroit when the vampires were standing in the audience? That was giving me Queen of the Damned vibes as well. That happened at that big, huge concert, but it was
Mhm.
many, many more of them, not just two of them. But it seemed like very similar in respect to how they shot it. So I think we're going to be seeing like these little Easter eggs and like paying homage to the movies and the books all throughout every single episode.
Yeah. I do know from the books, and they kind of touched on it some in the movies, but not a lot. After Louis shared his story and it went live,
Hmm.
it very much upset various groups of vampires because the cardinal rule for a vampire is you don't reveal yourself to a human unless you plan to either kill them or change them.
Hmm.
You don't they stay in mythology. They're not supposed to make a show of themselves. And the last time that anyone made a somewhat show of themselves would have been Armand back with the Theater of the Vampires.
Yeah, and they'd let that go.
Yes and no. Part of it was is he was part of a coven and they didn't, it was pre-internet, so everyone just thought it was theatrics.
Well, even with Louis, they made that scene at the end of I don't know what season 2, where, he's basically saying, "Come get me. I don't care." Right?
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
had that scene, and so far there's no delivery on that scene. So maybe it's still happening. Maybe we just haven't seen it yet. Maybe people are after him now as well. Or they said, well, we're going to move on.
Yeah. And if it so briefly get to meet Gabrielle, which is Lestat's mother. That's the blonde woman.
Yep.
And in the book, she is very cold and very distant. She loves her son, don't get me wrong, and she will come if he is in trouble.
Hmm.
But yeah, she doesn't like people. She doesn't like vampires. She actually prefers to live deep in the jungle and be left alone.
So she was stateside when he was talking to her. So I wonder if she's the same essence of what you're saying or if they
Right.
changed her a little bit.
I'm thinking they changed her because in the book she does come to Lestat when he calls her, but he
Mhm.
doesn't. It's not on a text message. I mean, he literally sends out a psychic message to all the other vampires to look for her
Mhm.
because he can't. She's one of the few vampires he can't reach psychically.
Mhm.
Her, Louis, and one other.
Well, that's because, like, their connection of how they were made, you can't
He
you
sired them.
yeah, you
Yep.
can't talk to them like that.
Right.
Although, I am curious to see how that relationship is gonna look. I think it's kind of ew, it's giving ick a little bit. It's kinda
Yeah.
diabolical a little bit. That's supposed to be your mother. Don't sleep with your mother. Please don't. But we know vampires do what they want, and they don't think of things like how we do. But, yeah, I'm like, "Ew,
Yeah.
gross."
Well, and I mean, and also keep in mind in the books, while in the movie or while in the shows they have, they very much have sex. In the books, they do not.
They don't.
No.
Okay, good. So, but are they kissing each other and stuff,
Yeah, they'll
like, in
kiss
the
each
mouth?
other, but
Blech.
it's mostly an exchange of blood.
Ew, it's just as
But
bad.
but then but I mean, that's also how you transmit power. So if a much stronger vampire allows a weaker vampire to feed off of him, it'll make the weaker vampire stronger.
Yeah, but you don't have to put your lips on each other's lips to do that. You just drink their blood from their arm, their
Right. No, no, that's what they do for
yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I'm curious to see how that works. I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, and again, I mean, I read all the books, but I'm not hating it because I went into it assuming that there would be changes. I'm just, like I said, that a lot of times though in these books, they at least try to keep the general timeline, and I'm a little confused on the whole, I have the blood of the ancient, unless he's talking about one of there are a few others that he could be talking about, but,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
I I'm not thinking that's what he's referring to.
Well, since you're making comparisons, tell us well, I guess this would kind of be a spoiler. So, I guess 60 seconds ahead. Lisa, I think you can do it in 60 seconds. Tell us what the scar is on Lestat's chest that Louis left out of his story. Can you do it in 60 seconds?
It doesn't exist in the book.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm going to guess most likely it is probably they're gonna have it referred to, the burning of some kind, but, by the time he went to ground, which
Mhm.
almost all the ancient vampires will do, and if they stay underground long enough and then it can revive themselves, they come
Mhm.
out much stronger. They'll get about 5 to 10 times their strength and usually gain new powers.
Mhm.
So after Louis burned him, he went to ground and he woke himself up. And it was music, actually. It was the band that in the book, it was the band that we heard the his human band.
Mhm.
Them practicing is what actually woke Lestat up in the books.
That's so different.
Yeah. It was their music. It called to him while he was sleeping in underground.
Okay, so yeah, I think the timing is very, very different then
Mhm.
because they woke him up 100 years ago. They
Yeah.
were in Europe when he was awake.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and in the books, he slept that whole time. He
mhm,
didn't wake up until the modern age.
mhm. Okay, well, yeah, that's very different. But I do like how he met his band though. That was he was so irate with that guy playing that note. He was so upset. He said, "I'm gonna go over here and show them how it's done."
Yeah, and like I said, in the book, it's similar. It was the rawness of the music is what initially called to him, what made him wake up and start to regain consciousness, and it took many, many weeks for him to
Mhm,
actually regain full consciousness. But once he did emerge, he was, well, back to the flawlessness of a vampire. If
mhm.
given enough time to heal, vampires don't have scars.
Mm, that's what I thought. I thought all vampires would heal from those, but
Yep, they do.
hmm,
So,
interesting.
I mean, he does try to kill himself in the book at one other point, and he went up in a ball of flame in the sunlight, and then, yeah, just it didn't work out for him. He was too
Mhm,
strong.
mhm.
He got a
Mm,
nice tan, though.
I'm sure. Crispy. Okay, so I guess I wonder how they decided to have him meet his band this time Halloween night, which that was a little fun thing with the little kiddos, how they were dressed. Did you
Yeah.
notice that?
Yes, I did.
I'm like, "Look at that. It's a little Claudia and a little."
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, if the way he reacted to those kids, he's like, Get out of here. I don't care." He's like, the one kid, "I'm allergic. Can I get a mouse?" He's like, "You get what I give you." I'm like, "Oh
That's
my
right.
God, he is
No, you can't.
wild." He is wild. He don't give a F. He like, "Whatever." I'm surprised he was even giving out candy. Honestly, he is such a like polar opposites. His personality can flip on a dime, and he's one way one minute and another way another minute. It's just
Well, and now you again, in the books, we get our first introduction to Lestat from Louis.
Mhm.
And Louis is very he has his own opinions of what happened, and a lot of it is colored by his own loss, his own grief, his own, um, depression that he chose this, and Lestat never forced him into it, he gave him a choice. He's like, you can either go back to your life or you can join me. And in the book, Louis had lost his wife and child and decided to become a vampire instead of continuing with the living.
Yeah, I remember that. Cause in the show, there were no wife and child, so
Right. And,
uh-huh.
but, so but his opinion and his view of Lestat is very much colored by his own trauma.
But, aren't all stories like, I feel like so we couldn't really 100% trust, Louis' version of what happened. I don't think we can also 100% trust Lestat's either
Right.
because, each person brings their own baggage to it.
Right.
And they always say, it's his story, her story, and like the truth, which is somewhere in between, and I think it's true for the both of them as well.
But I will say this because we do in the books, we see him from other people's points of view, including the Mayfair witches.
Okay.
And Lestat is very different in all of their other perspective. I mean, they're all similar, but very different than Louis' first telling of
He's
him.
I stand by this. He's a chameleon and he changes, like I said, at the drop of a dime. So maybe to the
Mhm.
witches he seemed this way, to this group he seemed another way. And I think all of that is valid. I
Yeah.
think he can be more than one thing.
And in the uh, in the vampire community, he is both loved and respected.
Mhm.
So, not that he doesn't have his little fights with people. He does. But
Mhm.
for the most part, if he gets in true trouble, generally the other vampires will come to his aid and
So
will
just
help
for
him.
shits and giggles, how mad are you going to be if they end up not reflecting him in that way?
I will be a little bit because one, he's my favorite character.
Mhm.
Lestat is hands down my favorite character. He's a rascal, but he can be cruel, but he's my kind of scoundrel, I guess.
Okay. I just think you shouldn't hold your breath expecting them to for him to present in that way. I don't know if they do. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy, but I wouldn't. I mean, come on, this
It
AMC, y'all. Come on, let's keep it real.
right,
They never do the right thing most
and
of the time.
if they change his personality too much, they probably wouldn't be able to do the last books.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean they could do other seasons, but it would be completely off script
I
because if
wonder.
Lestat doesn't have, I, for lack of a better term, if Lestat doesn't have a soul, so to speak, nothing in the last couple books will make any sense.
Well, he definitely has some emotion. The way he cries and screams and have tantrums. Again, he is like such a delinquent. He's like a child crying and moaning and groaning about stuff one second, raging and crashing out the next second. It's like he is just a lot for anybody
Yeah,
to
I
take.
mean, if in the books, I mean, he is reckless. He does
Mhm.
many reckless things, but he doesn't generally do those reckless things from maliciousness. Sometimes it's curiosity, sometimes it's boredom, but it does not generally stem from maliciousness. It's just, you know.
I don't know, I wouldn't say he's malicious per se, but he is thoughtless and careless. Like, for example, with the girl who took the drugs. He almost killed that girl. And you know what? You're old as dirt. You know how you can drink from somebody without killing them. But guess what? You didn't care. So yeah, he wasn't like, I'm going to kill her, right? He's not malicious like that. But I think it could be equally as dangerous and awful of a person to just not care at
Yeah.
all.
And I mean, at this point in the books, humans are so fragile to him.
Hmm.
He constantly has to remind himself not to squish them. Yeah. And it's not that he would do it, eh, so he's always very carefully moving through the human world because he's he's so much stronger than we are, and we are so fragile compared to him.
I still have a hard time believing that being that he's so old. You have so much experience, like generations old. You didn't just get this power yesterday and you don't know how strong you are.
But he's
So,
actually among vampires, he's not anywhere near the oldest. Armand
right. No, we
hundreds and
know that. We know he's not
hundreds of
the
years old.
oldest, but he's still old enough, like hundreds of years old, dude. You know how not to crush a human.
Yeah,
So I'm just saying he is not a baby vamp by any means.
but baby vamps are very weak compared to him, so it's
Right.
easier for them to make mistakes,
Mhm.
because they're still mostly human. So for him, the the human world is very fragile.
Yeah. But he should
Mhm.
know how to, just like we know how to carry eggs and not break them. He should know how to deal with
Yeah,
humans and not break them.
but occasionally we do accidentally break eggs.
We
You know?
do we do on accident, but I don't think Lestat is doing stuff on accident. He just don't care. There's difference. I feel like there is difference. Now maybe he might change over the course of this season as, we get more into things and we dig more into his past and maybe he has some revelations. Who knows? Maybe he'll have some character growth this season where it will start to feel like he cares more. But like right now, episode 1, he don't give a fuck. Okay. He don't care. He doing whatever. He having a time. He living wild. If he breaks a few eggs, as they say,
Yeah,
who cares? Whatever. It's fine, which makes him very volatile and dangerous.
yeah. Now I will say one of the and I know it doesn't sound like a big change, but in the books, vampires don't pee. Not ever. Not
Oh,
rarely.
yeah. Yeah.
Never. They don't throw up. Well, I mean, they can vomit, but yeah, it's not for the same reason humans do.
So I could have all the way did without that scene, all the way. I think that was so gross to me seeing that. I just looked away actually. I don't even like seeing people pee, like period. And I don't
Yeah,
want to see blood come out of there.
yeah,
That just grossed me out so bad. I'm like, why are we doing this?
yeah. And they also can't. Vampires can't eat. The only thing, I mean, they don't drink wine. They don't drink water. They don't drink anything, and they don't eat anything but blood. Full stop. Anything else will make them violently ill.
Mhm.
So, that's another big change that they've made from the books. And I think
Mhm.
it's to humanize them in a way, but yeah, in the books,
That
they
is
don't.
not humanizing. If anybody pees blood, go to the doctor, go to the urologist immediately, stat
Yeah,
right now.
but I mean, they had Armand, or they had Louis, eating
Yeah.
small amounts of food,
I know they did. They sure did. So he
you
was
know,
trying to blend.
and there's references to them drinking wine and getting drunk, which they cannot do.
Yeah.
And even getting, even the getting high off the ecstasy, there's only a few things that can actually affect them like that, and it's for a brief period of time, and I don't know that ecstasy is one of them.
I wonder why. Like, and I don't know. We all have seen more than enough vampire things and supernatural things on TV and books everywhere where they don't have to change the rules of the world for these vampires. I wonder why they did it. Like, they didn't have to, it
Right.
wasn't necessary.
Was not. And I think that's the one thing that does disappoint me about this. I mean, the whole eating and the drinking and the bodily functions. I mean,
Hmm.
in these books, I mean, even brand brand new vampires, when they are first brought over, one of the first things that happens to them is they purge their human innards, I guess.
Mm,
I mean, just their entire digestive system flushes. It's
hmm.
kinda disgusting. They do just she describes it once. And once is enough. It's very disgusting,
I'm sure.
but it's a purging, and then they never, you know, every once in a while, you'll hear one say, "I tried, to drink a glass of wine," but it it doesn't settle well, and it tastes very flat, very unappealing. it'd be kind of like, well, us drinking, I don't know, like gasoline or something unpleasant.
Man, yeah, I would be retching if I tried to drink some gasoline, so
Exactly.
immediately. So I don't like that change, and it's not funny to me, it's not cute, it's not haha, I'm like, "Ew, gross." Like, let's just leave it out. I don't need it.
So
Hopefully, that's the end of it. We don't need to see any more bodily functions. We're good.
yeah, and then like I said, and in the books they don't have literal sex. They're very sensual creatures. They crave tactile sensations, but they don't have sex. They're not
So,
capable of it.
they're not capable. Oh, nah, that is unusual to me. Every vampire in every book I've ever read is very capable of having
No,
sex.
they're not. Again, they've
Yeah,
purged the humanness from them.
right.
So,
Well, so in the scene where he's singing and he's got a stain on his pants at one point, did
mhm.
you notice that? I'm like,
Yep.
"Sir." And then he gets off the stage and he's like, "It was boring." "What are you talking about? You're up there just having some kind of fun time on your own
Yeah,
with
yeah,
no assistance because
right.
of the music."
But yeah, like I said, in
Oh,
the books,
no.
he would not have been capable of doing that.
Well, they are
And it's not that
very
they don't the a couple of the vampires don't try.
yeah,
It doesn't,
just won't do it.
just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I guess I understand why they would want that back because it's more sexy, and that's what people expect on TV
Right,
nowadays, is hot vampire sex, I guess, but so that change makes sense to me, and it fits, but,
right.
I mean, he does sleep with every body. It does
Yeah,
not matter. You've got a hole, he'll use it.
right.
That's it, period. So, yeah, very interesting. Like, okay. Although I have to admit, though, so when it comes to, like, just how the show looks and the tone of it, it's so different from Interview with a Vampire. It's very chaotic
Mhm.
and loud. And I mean, literally, I had to turn down some of the music scenes. I'm like, why is it so loud? Like the
Yeah,
volume actually went up. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I'm
yeah,
not at the concert.
right. And I did too. I'm like, "Dude." Yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, I had to turn I mean, not like 1 or 2, I mean, like, I had to go down like 10. You know,
Yes. It was so loud. I'm like, what happened? Like,
that part of it would be true because Louis' book is very controlled.
yeah.
It's very soft like he is.
Hmm.
But Lestat he is chaotic. And
He
so
is.
this different kind of cinematography and angling and the music and the colors and the flashing would be very appropriate for Lestat.
Yeah, he is. I am more sure than ever he's not my cup of tea because his being would give me a headache. Like how he is, I'm like, you got to get away from me. You are too much. You're on 1,000 all the time, 1,000 in the dumps or 1,000 high. Like, you are just 1,000, whatever you're doing. And it's just
Yeah.
too much for me.
Now I would and I'm gonna say I don't know that I'd wanna hang out with the Lestat on the TV show,
Hmm.
but I'd absolutely hang out with the Lestat from the books.
Mm. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, because this TV show one, he is wild. And the actor Sam Reed does a really good job, like turning like the emotions on and off and acting it out. Like I feel it, I believe it. It's like I'm all the way dialed in. Like, yeah, you've a mission accomplished. Even his like attitudes, like when the scene is so funny when like he gets a little notification on the top of his iPad. He looks at it and he's like, "Do you know?"
Yeah.
Louis like, "Well, what happened was, I didn't know there was another copy." And he like instantly rage. He goes to the bookstore. The look he gave that display, he
Yeah.
was he was everything he does is extra. Like I said, 1,000%. He's flipping through the pages and he's scribbling down this what's wrong. I'm like, everything is on 1,000. It's so funny.
And from the books, he is very mad at the betrayal of that Louis, gave of him.
Yeah.
And particularly because even though Louis killed him, he still very much loved him.
Hmm.
Lestat still loved loved
Of
him,
course he did.
and he's always been concerned for him and worried about him. He always is.
Mhm.
So, because again, Louis of all the vampires is the closest to human.
Well Well, how funny is that now Daniel Malloy, the author, he is now riding around with Lestat like, "Hey, tell me your side," and they're doing a documentary style instead of a book.
Mhm.
So there are cameras all around, and I think cinematically, it looks kind of interesting when it shifts to the black and white here and there, like, "Okay, that's creative. I like it." And I guess, again, this type of media does fit Lestat's character as being, very loud and chaotic and volatile.
Mhm.
It's good to catch that on camera versus him, like, sitting and telling a story. That would never work for this character. So,
No. Yeah,
yeah.
not really.
No. Mm-mm. And, I mean, even Daniels helped save him a little bit. I'm like, "Are you really gonna let the Fang Gang take you out, sir? Is that
Yeah.
what's happening right now?" It's
Yeah,
going
and if he truly does have Aiska's blood, there is no way that any of those other vampires could have done what they did to him.
Mhm.
I mean, they could have eventually if there had been many, many more. But yeah, I mean, Lestat was one of the strongest vampires ever created from the get-go.
So, I don't like that inconsistency then. He should have been able to wipe the floor with all of them, and it would have been fun to see him do that. But instead, they made it seem like he was almost about to get his head cut off.
Right.
So, but yet at the same time, you're supposed to be so strong because you have this ancient blood. So, I think they need to get more consistent in that way because if you're powerful, and it's okay to be powerful and show it. I think
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, 'cause the vampire that created Lestat had never sired a fledgling.
Mhm.
So Lestat was his only fledgling, and he was thousands and thousands of years old.
Mhm.
So he was incredibly strong for a vampire. And then as soon as he created Lestat, he jumped in a bonfire and killed himself.
Mhm. Well, I would love for them to just give us a couple words on why he's not so powerful in certain situations. And I'm sure they'll say it's the drugs, but I mean, come on, you're immortal. The drugs, brush that shit off and just take people out. I feel like the drugs are like affecting him because he's kind of allowing them to. You know how
Yeah.
like sometimes when you could just shake it off and you're like,
Right.
forget. I feel like that's something he could do if he wanted to.
Mhm.
So,
Now in the book, there was a scene because he really very much tried to hide his true vampiric nature from the band and everyone in his close circle, unless they were actually vampires, they all thought that this was some kind of a persona that he was just really dedicated to.
mhm,
They didn't really believe he was a vampire.
mhm,
So when they did find out, they rather freaked out.
I'm
You know?
sure. I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. There was a lot of things going on in this episode. So many. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Lestat has a doppelganger. He has a double. What's it? Jarda running around.
Yeah. Eating sandwiches and, you know.
Although it's funny, obviously that is Sam Reed as well. But they like threw some fake teeth in his mouth and have an obvious wig on his head, and he
Yeah.
like it's almost comical. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Who's
Like,
supposed to
couldn't you have done
believe that's
better?
him?
Yeah, and then he tucks the hood up, to partially cover his face, and
Yeah.
they send him out to diners and stuff.
Like, what the heck? Like, he looks, like, icky. Like, this the look-alike looks icky. Like, what's going
Mhm.
on? He's not the real obviously, I guess. But, yeah, that was pretty funny. Okay, so do you know what was up with, Armand's eye patch? Do you know that? That in the first scene, we saw him with the eye patch?
Yep.
Okay, that's a
I don't know
a
why.
mystery to you as well? Okay.
I mean,
Hmm.
there is later on about an eye patch, yes, but it's not Armand, and I'm not sure why.
So that could be like a real injury or it could just be performative, just to kind of hide himself while he's there trying to bid on these things.
Yeah.
We
I
don't
mean,
know.
and it could also be that, because again, the whole vampire, the Louis telling his story didn't
Mhm.
take place like it did in the 2nd season,
Mhm.
and there was no Armand with Louis like that, and, I mean, there was, but never mind. Just go with it. But yeah, it's possible that because it wasn't just Lestat that these other groups of vampires were having a fit about, but he
Mhm.
might have gotten injured trying to protect Louis
Mhm.
or even
Hmm.
protect himself.
Okay. But he should
So it's
heal, right?
possible one do what?
Anything that any of those injuries should heal.
Yes and no. Yes, they should, but it'll take time. If his eye was plucked completely from his head, I'm not it might come back, but I'm not sure if it would.
Mhm.
I do know, like, there is a vampire that had her tongue ripped out that never came back, but
Right.
most other injuries do heal.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So I do want to ask you this because you are a book diehard, but I would love you to separate the book from the show for this question.
I'll
Like,
try.
don't consider the book.
Okay.
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 So, with the shift from Louis' perspective to Lestat's perspective, you know, it changes the show's tone, obviously. But
Mhm.
Lestat is more, for lack of a better word, primal, the performative, loud,
Flamboyant?
outrageous, flamboyant, all the things. Do you find Lestat more or less, as of episode one, sympathetic than Louis?
Book or TV show, I've always found Louis to be more sympathetic.
Okay.
Just he's that's just L that's just Louis. He's just even in the TV show,
Mhm.
he's a very sympathetic character.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, same. Because I'm like, I'd like to know, like, looking ahead, how they want us to feel about Lestat at the end of this. Like, how are we supposed to just get a fun ride, a fun romp, and just see his side? Or are we supposed to, like you mentioned from the books, all of a sudden everyone respects him? Like, are they aiming for that, or is this just a fun ride? Because I am curious to see what we're going to feel at the end of this about him.
Yeah,
Will
me
our
too.
opinion change of him?
Yeah. Because I mean, again, if he becomes a very disreputable character, the other books will make no sense. They would have to have they might keep the title, but they would make absolutely no sense if
Mhm.
they kept true to the book in any
Mm,
way,
mm,
because they're all based on Lestat being caring and being enraptured by beauty and music and humanity even. In his own way, he very much loves humanity. He's but kind of in the same way that, the hunter loves nature. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah. There's hunters that go out and kill creatures, but they also believe in it, they love the beauty of nature and they respect it and, but you have to kill to live, and so does he.
Mhm. Or for fun. For shits and giggles and fun. He kills for that too.
Yeah. I mean, he picks people that he can toy with because they're
Uh-huh.
not nice people.
Right. Interesting. Okay, let's see. What else? Okay, so in the books, so in the Queen of the Damned, he was a rock star.
Mhm. Well, it was his music that woke him up, or that
Right.
woke her up,
Yeah.
and,
So I
and
mean,
she
like,
basically
specifically the type of music. It was rock, like metal,
it
like
was
what he's doing
no, it
now.
was his voice. It
Okay.
wasn't it was his voice that reached her, and he was aware of her, in the book, Vampire Lestat,
Mhm.
and then he was, in his own way, trying to reach her to wake her up. He had kind of this how we all have, like, a story we have in our head about if we met, like, I don't know, Prince Charming or something, and how it would play out, and he kinda had that with her and wanted to reach her, and he did, and then he realized much too late he had made a horrible mistake, and, yeah, so there are severe consequences for waking her up.
Okay, so I guess I was asking that to see how different a vampire rock star in this universe, the TV universe, is. And I know that that is how they presented him in the movie as
Mhm.
well as being
Yep.
a rock star. But I guess in just comparison to the books, that is different then.
I mean, no, the rock star part of it is very much true. The band that woke him up, he became their lead singer.
So it was a modern day rock star in the
Yes.
book.
Yes.
Okay. Huh.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And it wasn't just him singing personally, it was his music getting picked up and going across the airwaves and being played everywhere,
Hmm.
and the his voice reached her, and, which is what he was kinda trying to do, in kind of a fairy tale kind of way, but the reality turns out to be, not
Hmm.
so much.
Yeah. So, switching gears a little bit, I guess the Fang Gang part still wasn't Bruce a part of that?
Wasn't who?
Bruce, the vampire Bruce that Claudia came in contact with before. I had
Yeah.
seen online that he was a part of that group.
Honestly, I'm gonna say I don't know.
Hmm.
It might be. I'm gonna be real truth, I wasn't really paying that close of attention to them personally.
Mhm.
I will
Okay.
say that the 2 that were in the audience,
Mhm.
to me, looked like they had just walked out of Pulp Fiction.
Well, yeah, I could see it. I could see that for sure. Do you have any points you think we should cover or anything that we haven't yet?
I mean, really, this whole episode was the setup. This was
Yeah.
us getting to kinda know him in his bipolar glory, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm.
The music and his band, and, we see him reaching out to Louis, and the 2 of them had talked, and the book, and while it's different than how it was in the book, we do see all that kinda tying together, and this happening, and I did like it. I did. If they had not changed the aesthetic of this season, trying to force Lestat into the aesthetic of Louis, I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah, I agree with that because their personalities are so different. They were gonna tell their stories in a much different way, that makes sense. But also in the same breath for me personally, I guess I just can be overstimulated at times, and that episode was very much I actually paused it in the middle and went off and did something and came back to it because I was just like, "Oh my god, there's so much going on and it's so loud, it's so this." I'm like, "Oh my god." So, not that like I can't deal per se, but I'm like, "Wow, 5 more episodes of this or 6 more?"
There were some, the humanizing aspects of, having him be sick and peeing and stuff. I wish they had not. I
Mhm.
really wish they had not. But other than that, I mean, those were that humanizing aspect were probably the only things I really didn't like about it,
Mhm.
you know. And not just because I don't wanna see a guy pee into a toilet, it's
Well,
way just so different than what they should be.
right. And like, we said earlier, there was no reason to change it. There was no
Right,
benefit in changing that aspect. So why do it?
exactly. Yeah, that's why, and I think that's why it irritated me, because it didn't add anything to the story.
Mhm.
It didn't give us deeper insight into the characters. It was like they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm an all-powerful forever being, and I'm a vampire, but, oh, excuse me while I stop to take a piss." You know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Things like that, those are part of the things that make us human and vulnerable, and he's not human or vulnerable,
Mhm.
truly. So, not in any reasonable way.
Right. Hmm. I am curious to see how much screen time Daniel's character gets this season.
Well, from the look of it, he's gonna get a lot. Yeah,
Yeah. I
which
mean,
is way more than the book, but, I'm going with it.
he's popping up everywhere like, "Okay, sir." He's just fighting and doing I can't say I hate it, He was turned as an old man, and it's funny to see him as a vampire as an older man, but him acting kind of younger now because he has more strength than he did, and he's healthy and all this stuff. Well, as healthy as a vampire can be. Is he gonna be comic relief or because he can't even really keep, Lestat on track when he's asking him questions. He has no control at all.
Right.
So, I guess maybe he's just along for the ride, I guess.
And I think at this point, from the questions that he was asking Lestat, the one that he kept going back to, did you have a stutter as a child?
Yes.
I think that's a Talamasca thing
Hmm. It might be.
because in the second season we did see him talking and kind of working with the Talamasca.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm wondering if that's where that question, if that's something that the Talamasca wants to know.
I mean, he asked so many times, it's gonna come back up in a meaningful way. There's no way they're just gonna drop it. There's a reason for it.
Right. And I do know, looking at the previews for the season, they will go back and touch on Lestat's childhood,
Mm,
which they
mhm.
do in the book as well. So, I don't know how faithful they'll be to it, but
You should expect them not to be.
you don't expect them to be. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna see how far off the reservation they go.
Mhm. Yeah, and honestly, if it even with the changes, I guess ultimately, as long as they deliver a product that's fun to watch, it makes sense in the world that they have set, the TV
Right,
version, fine, right?
right.
Yeah, trying to think. I don't think I have anything else. What about you?
No, I think that, there was a few other things that happened during the episode, but, for the most part, it was just the build up, the setup for getting to know this particular character and giving us kind of the main characters, which is him, Daniel, his
His
mother,
mother. Yeah,
and Louis.
right.
And so, yeah, I really am looking forward to the next episode.
Good, me too. I was surprised. I feel like even getting a little glimpse into what they have been really pushing the behind the scenes, the little clips,
The
audio,
concert.
the concert. They've been really giving this a push like no other.
Mhm.
So, even with all of that though, I still was slightly caught off guard by how much is going on in that episode. I'm like, "Oh my god." Can they keep this pace up the entire season?
And do they want to?
Yeah.
This was kind of his chaotic beginning. I'm kinda hoping I would assume that at least for, like, some of the flashbacks, they'll be a little bit slower for back when he
Mhm,
was human.
mhm.
And, even when I can see it being a little chaotic, or, at least kinda jump scare for when he's turned into a vampire.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know that there was in one of the little brief flashes, it's him with his mother when she was old and sick.
Oh, goodness.
So that the old lady that
Mhm.
they gave a flash of,
Okay.
that would have been his mother.
Guess we'll see what they decide to show. Maybe we'll get a little of that. Some
Yeah,
rationale for why he is
yeah,
how he is today.
I think in the book his mother, actually she wasn't really old, but in the book she was dying of consumption, I believe is what they were describing.
Okay.
And yeah, she was not doing well.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So we're looking forward to next week. You guys be sure to come back next week and we will talk about the next episode. So I think that's all we've got. What do you think, Lisa?
I think that's it.
All right. So this has been a fun conversation. Thanks for listening to the entire episode. We appreciate you for doing that. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you are listening because, again, we'll be back next week and you'll want to get that notification. If you enjoyed this discussion, please leave us 5-star rating wherever you're listening. That will really help others find the podcast. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.